The tool I'm going to share with you is something very simple, which came to my mind, I don't know through which chemistry, but many years ago, while I had been busy with creativity for a few years then. And I'm using it in almost every session I give, whatever the topic. Well, it's mostly creativity, but be it consultancy or whatever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain it to you. You're going to see it's very simple. Let it let yourself use it for yourself. And if we have time, maybe you have a short session in pairs where we can exchange about it, and then we'll debrief it together. All this in 30 minutes. So if you don't mind, I'm going to share my screen with you. Just to tell you why I thought of this topic, because I was kind of frustrated with brainstorms where one would give many ideas, and at the end of the session, at the end of divergence, when one would start converging, only the realistic ideas would be taken into account, and yeah, that's the reason. And here's the tool. It's called the ideas ladder. Here we go. Oops. Just a second. Yeah. So it's really, really simple. It's you could call it a feasibility ladder. And it stems from the idea that you can have 3 levels of feasibility for ideas: earth, mountain, and heaven. The earth ideas being the most simple ones, the easy, quick win ideas. There's no risk. They will be accepted. It's just do it. Then the mountain ideas, as you can see the curve I drew, are possible, but challenging. They are disruptive. And it will take some efforts to make them true. Spend some time, spend money, invest in some competence you may not have developed yet, convince people who may not, who might be a bit resistant to them, but they are possible, but not just like that. And then the heaven ideas are just dream ideas, impossible, but they're very inspiring. If they were possible, there would be just the ideal solution. The trouble is that in organizations, people do not dare think, or if they think about them, they do not dare share these ideas, because people would think they're crazy. Mountain ideas, since they are disruptive, are mostly shot at with yes buts, and you know them, which makes it mostly meetings stick to earth ideas. And when a brainstorm is very rich, when it comes to converging, these heaven ideas are considered as too crazy. So well, they made us laugh a lot, and they're really aspiring, but everybody agrees to say that they are impossible, so let's drop them. These mountain ideas are considered too complicated, too expensive, blah blah blah. So we won't do them either. So thank you for being here. We found our great idea, and these are the earth ideas. And in doing so, people make a huge mistake, because they mistake an idea for a solution, and an idea is just stuff for thinking, and therefore they need transforming. One thing about this, you can take a heaven idea and transform it into a mountain idea. You can take a mountain idea and transform it into an earth idea. And that's very, very powerful. And you can also take an earth idea, something that you do very well and very usually, or that your competitors do as well, but you can give it some asperity, some kick, that will make it more original, more unexpected. And so you can really travel up and down this ideas ladder. You can also start from heaven. And some companies do this very well. Decathlon and this device that they've been thinking of years ago, which is absolutely magic because in 2 seconds, paf, your tent goes open. And I had the opportunity to have lunch uh, with one of the top managers of Decathlon, and I asked him, how did this idea come up in your company? Which process made this idea possible? And he gave this very simple answer, which I thought was really inspiring, which was, in our company, we start with the question, what would be the dream for our customers? And definitely for any camper, this is a dream. I mean, you arrive at the camping place, the sun is already set, you're tired, you just want to sleep, poof, you throw your tent in the air and bam, it goes open and you go to sleep. And in any normal company, people would say, this is really a stupid idea. What have you been smoking? Can I try some? Because it looks really powerful. But there, they gave a chance to this dream idea. And it took them 5 years from the initial concept or of vision to the actual sale of these products in their shops with the success that you know. So it's worth dreaming, and this can apply either to yourself or to your team, to your customer, to your family. To cut a long story short, we did this for our own house. We're looking for a house, my wife and I, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, and we didn't find one. We were looking for a house that would match who we were becoming at the time, but any house we would visit wouldn't match. And at some point, my wife got tired and she said, Philippe, I think you don't know what you're looking for. I said, well, you may be right. So she gave me a piece of paper and a pen. She said, okay, well, why don't you draw your dream house? And my first reaction was, oh, that's stupid. That's stupid. It would be much too expensive. And then she got really mad, not mad at me, but she said, Philippe, you're kidding me. You, Mr. Creativity, you don't dare give your dream a chance. So come on, make that drawing and let's see what becomes of it. And I said, okay. I made that drawing, and I drew a large house because we have 4 kids. We need many rooms with huge windows and a big garden, and then another house next to it with a huge office for me with a huge bookshelf, and a room where we could invite participants for workshops, and my wife to organize her dance workshops. And I said, well, a river would be great, and animals like cows and horses, and a little village. And please, all this within 15 kilometers from Brussels, because I need to take planes and trains for my job. Believe it or not, 15 days later, we found a house exactly that matched my drawing. And we bought it, and upon a little walk behind the garden, we saw that there was a river just behind the garden. So it's worth giving your dreams a chance. And yeah, so what I want to suggest to you is to think about 2021. What do you want for yourself to have a really happy and successful year? And on a document that I will share with you in a few seconds, you can either with a pen or directly on the PowerPoint document I will give you, take a few notes of Earth ideas. What would I like to do by the end of January? And just let yourself express your wishes in order to be happy, successful. It can be private or professional, whatever. What is it that I want to do by the end of January? And what do I want to do? And this is the mountain ideas by the end of April. So that's midterm ideas, I would call them. And then for the heaven ideas, what would I love to do? Oops, by the end of the year, or if it's not possible because it's so ambitious, maybe it will be the end of 2022 because there's travel restrictions, whatever. Maybe you don't have enough money for your dream idea, whatever. Make a little list, okay? And then we'll come back to that in let's say 6 minutes. All right, so I'm going to share this document with you. I'll stop sharing this. Blah, blah, blah. Just take the document. Oops. Okay, have you received it now? Yep. Okay. So just for yourself, you can do it either with a pen and paper, or you can do it directly on your screen, because it's a PowerPoint document. You see there's already room for you to write on. I'm giving you a big 5 minutes, 6 minutes to jot down your Earth mountain. I'm going to add a little extra to the exercise for 3 more minutes. And I would call it idea travels. I'm going to give you an example. You could translate a heaven idea into a mountain or an earth idea. For example, I want to publish a book on visual thinking. That's a heaven idea. I know I can't, I would probably not have finished by the end of the year, and it's more probably the year after. But I know, for having published a few books already, that such projects can take a long time. It can discourage me as well. And that having such a big idea can make me feel a bit despaired, because it's so big. I have the feeling that I will never really get to it. So a way of translating it into something more in the short term is, okay, what if I could, I would publish articles on visual thinking on LinkedIn. And an Earth idea would be, okay, I will publish a long article on why visual thinking is so powerful in my eyes by the end of January. So, and this would bring me closer and help me get more clear ideas about my topic, and it will help me for my books and maybe get in touch with my public. That's one translation from heaven to mountain and to earth. But another thing is, oh, I want to see, there's an exhibition in Belgium where I live on Egypt. I say, oh, I want to visit it before it closes. I need to do it by half January. So easy to do, quick win, I'll do it. But then when I want to translate it into a heaven idea or a mountain, I would actually dream to visit Egypt before I die. I never did it. And I don't want to wait until I'm 80, I'm 56, but I would love to take my son, he's 11 now. So that would be a great project for the end of 2021. Like, you know, the first travel when we can travel again would be to Egypt. I had never thought of it, but just doing the exercise, wow, what an energy it gives me. So if it's okay for you, just 3 minutes, take one that's up and take it down, and one idea that's down, take it up. A few seconds more. No, it's good. I think it's good we have nine minutes to debrief, because I think there's a lot to do with this tool. And first thing I want to know is how you experienced using it, and maybe which questions it arouses. I use this in convergence as well. Look at this. So this is what I do when it comes to converging. Let's say, whoops, we have had a brainstorm with post-its. Okay, and our main goal was to think about user experience in our company. Okay, whatever, and then we have different sorts of ideas, different categories, and so I can range the group's ideas with them in categories and in feasibility. And then we have this matrix that helps us decide, okay, what do we do in the short term, midterm, long term, in this, that category. Or this can also be, and I did it with some companies, departments. So what can this department do to improve user experience? What can this department do in the short, mid, and long term? So it's very simple as well, but you can use it not just in divergence, but also convergence.
I was going to say, with that, have you tried that with divergence, say for a group that's having a hard time getting beyond the typical ideas? I was just thinking it might be an interesting, like, brain writing setup.
Yes, Yes,
kind
yes.
of purposefully
You
look
can
for
use
ideas in those
the
areas?
yes and this famous yes and exercise in pairs. What I do at the end of a workshop with CEOs is I let them choose one idea that they want to implement in their company to improve the creative climate. And in pairs, first one of them says yes, but, and he challenges the other one, he or she. And then we invert the roles, and then it's the yes and. But I say when using the yes and, it's not just to go up the ideas ladder to make ideas more and more ambitious and full of inspiration, and because that can be very dangerous. You can really dream, but well, in the end, it's too expensive, too long, too complicated. Well, so you're not going to do it. You've had a good time, but so use the yes and to go up and down the ladder. And yes, and to make the idea cheaper, you could do this. Yes, and to get all your employees to engage in this process, you could do this. You know, and this is really helpful. So this I come up with this ideas ladder very early in the process, and it comes back regularly in my speech and in the exercises as some reminder.
I think that's a very powerful concept, that the transformation is not only transformation to newer, better, more innovative, more crazy. It's also transformation into, more practical, more doable, more inexpensive. And so that's a really good insight. Yeah. Thank you.
And I say, if you have a yes but in mind, just before you say it, translate it into a yes and.
Philippe?
Yes, Pedro.
I don't know if you're familiar with, but the COCD box.
Yes, I know.
Yeah,
I was trained by COCD, and this is based on COCD box, but I find COCD box too abstract for me.
Yeah, the two would work quite well together.
Yes, but it's either one or the other. COCD now uses my ID ladder, and they combine it with their colors. It's okay, and it helps when you use color stickers on post-its. You can do it. Yeah, sure.
So Philippe, I assume you're inviting us to use your tool, of course, with all the appropriate attribution.
Exactly. Otherwise, I wouldn't share it. But I'm happy to share it. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, it's terrific.
Yeah. And it's in the only book I wrote. I mean, that's been translated into English, but here's my advertising for it. And there's a double page on the ID ladder in the book.
Nice. I'm imagining this huge wall of idea ladder from a session.
Yeah, and it helps in the end when you have the ID ladder and say, oh, and in some groups, and then they can say, oh, well, we've had few heaven ideas. I say, okay, extra session. How can you give a kick? But the main thing for me is the second part of the exercise you did. Is not to mistake an idea for a solution. Okay, we have an idea. How do we take responsibility for our dream and make it happen earlier? And sometimes we'll have to do with a cheaper solution, but it's so rewarding to see that, oh yes, we can do it right now. We would love to take our customers to Mars, but how do we bring Mars to our customers? This is really creativity. It's playing on the perception. Yeah. So
that was great.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Thank you. Don't hesitate to tell me how you've been using it. I would love to read or see that.